Hello, everybody. I am so thrilled to be here on this day because with us we have the beautiful George Hawes. Now, George, actually, let me just say welcome to the podcast, Strong, Grounded, Unstoppable. So new, I nearly forgot. But we are super keen on supporting women who are done just coping and who are ready to start living. And frankly, George is one of those people who understands what this is all about. So without further ado, let me introduce you to gorgeous George, as I call her. Hello, George, and welcome.
Oh, Susie, thank you so much. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my journey.
It's
I
my
can't wait.
absolute pleasure. Yes. We were fortunate to be introduced by Cher, and who sort of messaged and said, "Oh, you need this woman to perhaps be a speaker or something." And I did come along to the trust in Sussex and give a short talk on mastering mental toughness to some of the leaders, which was wonderful. And I'm thankful that it was very well received. So tell us where that was and for whom that was, and then we'll rewind and go back into your story.
No problem, Susie. So you accepted our kind invitation to come along to Sussex Partnership in Sussex to talk to my network at the time. I'm co-chair of the Women's Network. We're 300 strong, and come along and talk to us about innovation and just supporting ourselves, holding ourselves up. And we were very, very grateful for that.
Oh.
I still have colleagues talking about that session.
That was 3 years ago, and it was International
Yes,
Women's Day, actually, wasn't
yes,
it?
it was.
And it was
Yeah,
the NHS Trust Women's Foundation in
yeah.
Sussex. Yeah.
But you actually came along virtually first,
Oh, I
and
did, didn't I?
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
remember in
whetted our
person.
appetite.
Oh, and driving through the snow, of course,
Mm.
in March there. But let's rewind because you have a wonderful story. I am so proud and so respectful of the way that you have um, deported yourself throughout your life from what you've already told me. And I think it's a wonderful story. So can we rewind and go back to basically where it started? Not birth, but where it started.
I won't start like really, really where it started because I can hear my mother saying, "God, she was a very big baby." So I'm going to skip
Okay.
a few years ahead.
Yes, let's go.
Um, I was born with dyslexia, and words were very much backwards to forwards. So and I was encouraged by a wonderful man, my father,
Oh.
to enjoy whatever it was that I was seeing. So if it was that the words came out as pictures, enjoy that they were pictures. He used to say to me that it was a unique gift.
Oh.
So with that, I moved forward with this unique gift and taught myself how to read because books were something I was very intrigued about. I wanted to know what others were sharing. I wanted to feel the skill and the ability to read and write.
Mm.
And then I do move forward now, Susie, and say that this is something that I do as a pleasure. I sit down,
Mm.
I write poems, prose,
Mm.
short stories,
Mm.
because the art of word is absolutely
Mm.
fabulous. But I just think about the fact that I still have dyslexia. I taught myself to read and write, and how is that possible? And I tell you why it's possible. It's support. It's somebody looking at you and saying to you that you are okay how you are.
Mm. Not try to
It,
fix you.
not try to fix me. And that's how I have driven my life forward because there has been many things. As you can see, English is my second language, Cockney is my first, and I have a list. But we laugh about that. But in my lifetime, I have been chastised on the fact of not being able to have the correct command of English. I was born to wonderful Caribbean parents,
Yeah.
and they taught themselves at the time the Queen's English because broken French was their first language. So my
Mm,
command of English, yes, quirky because I was born in the East End, but again, driving forward by two people that felt, you know, we want to move forward. We want to make
mm,
sure that our children have the
mm.
right start in life. So I come to me, and what makes me, I feel the soldier that I
Yes.
am. And it's, I've always been different. I've always been my own self.
Mm,
And I feel that's through the support of others telling me that you are okay being you.
mm,
I'm not
mm,
going to say that it's always been great to look at myself and think, why am I different?
mm,
But having that solid start, having that support, having that
mm,
person in my life looking at me and saying to me, even though you are my daughter, I'm going to talk to you as a person that
mm,
doesn't know you. I'm going
mm,
to highlight the things that you feel are strange. I used to spend a
mm.
lot of time in my room, and that was because I was that different. I was different in certain genres. I couldn't fit in slots. The beautiful girls around me, they were all fashionable, but I wanted to wear trousers and read books and build electronics. And then the boys were like, well, you're a girl, you can't join in. And then, I was a person of color and it was
I was
difficult
going
for
to
people.
ask, did you encounter racism and
Not so much high level racism,
mm,
just the fact that because I was different,
mm,
I encountered people not being strong enough to
mm,
make me feel that they could openly include me
mm.
because I was different.
Okay.
So, I felt their love, but it just seemed to be hidden more than
Mm,
it,
mm.
I want to
I
share
can
that
imagine. Yeah, yeah.
I am close. And I
Mm,
understood that because of
mm.
how society was, I understood that. So I never really experienced, the
Fitting
aggression
in.
around being
Oh,
a person of color.
good.
I think it's probably my sense of humor and being a cheeky individual, which I'm glad to say I haven't
Yes.
lost. But yeah, so I didn't know where I slotted in, but that was okay. That was okay that I couldn't identify myself in anybody else
Mm,
because that's
mm,
where I began. And I
mm,
continued to do so to the point where, thank God, the world doesn't have another George because I think it would tip over. However, I could not, you know, the seriousness of that, if you like, is I would say, gosh, sometimes the systematic bullying of people telling you to conform, to change.
mm.
You
To
cannot
fit.
go
Mm,
you can't go forward unless you look like this.
mm,
You cannot do this unless you look like this. I'm a woman of size, but I became a woman of size through a disability. So
mm,
I've seen the two sides to
mm.
the biasness of, if you can't do things, people tend to look at you and think, gosh, I can't ask her to do that because she suffers from this. Maybe she
Mm,
suffers from this because she's a big person. Maybe
mhm,
she, but it doesn't go in,
mm,
Susie, it
mm,
really doesn't go in. But
mm,
that's through years of teaching myself that only me can make myself go forward. Only me can
mm,
encourage
mm,
myself to take those steps one at a
mm,
time. Never go
mm.
back if you feel that somebody has said you can't enter this room, because there's another door that you can go through.
Yes, yes.
It's never feel blocked. If you have an idea, if you have an idea or um, a project that you want to do and you feel committed to do it, continue to do it.
Yes,
One
yes.
person should never stop you.
Stop you.
And
Self-belief is huge.
it
And do
is,
you
it
think
is.
that came from the belief that your father had in you as you were growing up?
100%, because
Yeah.
he went through things himself. He came over in the 50s and he couldn't read and write. So he had a real hard
Mm,
time. I mean, my whole family, we lived in one room for a very, very long time. And then we moved to a very small flat and then a house. But for me, it was just life, right?
yeah, I know.
I didn't think to myself that things were any different because This
That was
was
the
it. I
norm
had
for
my
you.
family unit. I
And it
had
was
my
a happy family unit.
It's tough, you know.
Tough, yeah.
People can say a happy family unit. We were together. It was tough.
Mm.
I'm not going to lie to you, but the love was there. You know,
Ah,
it
yeah.
was. Yeah, you experience things because of finances, because of changes, because of
Mm.
loss of job.
Mm.
But that one room, I felt more security
Yeah.
than when we moved to a house.
Right.
I felt more connection, more togetherness when we were in that one room than when we
Mm.
were in that house. And
Mm.
I feel that once we moved to that house, everything broke down because there was no togetherness. You know,
Mm.
you've got your siblings all in your room, uh, forming your own identities, which is what you should do.
Mm. And
But
talking.
but then you're no longer talking though because you're in your own little areas. Whereas
Ah, yes, yes, yeah.
when we were in that closed room together,
Yeah, you were
you had
yeah.
to do nothing but
Mm.
converse and
Mm.
find out how each other was. And find your corner to sleep if you like. But the togetherness, was
Mm.
there.
Mm. Mm.
And
And you were all in it together, weren't you?
100%,
Yeah.
100%.
Mm.
But my father, what he used to do, he used to be quite bothered on how people saw him as he got older. And I think it was because he wanted to be, as he saw his children growing, especially his daughter, because I
Mm.
was his firstborn, he wanted to feel like he was this role model. And I said to him, he always was,
Mm.
but he needed to feel that he was making a difference.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get him to understand that every single
Oh,
time he opens his mouth, he
yeah.
was making a difference.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
my father had, young boys come to his place if they were substance abusing, and they used to come and talk to him. He used to feed them and try to help them. I
Mm.
mean, my father passed in 2008, and it was literally
Oh,
in the church. It was standing room
yes.
only. And I met
Amazing.
some of these boys and their children, and they wanted to
Oh,
talk to me about what he used to do for them.
yes.
And I
Yeah.
said to him, and all their children, that my dad spent a long time trying to, make something of himself and not understanding that he didn't need to do anything but be
Be
himself.
himself. And
And
that's his legacy. He's
yes,
left such a legacy of love.
100%,
Yeah. And that was
100%.
stood you in such good stead because you've had an amazing career, George, haven't you?
Oh, bless you.
So
Well,
you did you start in the corporate world? I mean, how did you
yes.
climb that ladder?
Well, I wanted to be a policewoman,
Mm.
first of all. And academically, I mean, I'm quite old. No, back in the day,
We
I
are
wanted
ladies of
to.
a certain age.
Yes, we are. Yes, maturing gracefully.
Yes. Yeah.
But back in the day, to join the force, you had to have certain academic qualifications. So I was driving myself forward to become a cadet, and then they call it passing out, where you stay with
Yes.
them until you're 18, and then you become a police officer. And that
Okay.
was what was driving me forward. But sadly, around about that time, you had some real bad riots, some real things happening in the police force and to the police force, and I just felt I'm this is not what I want to do. I want to make
Mm.
a difference, but I don't want
Mm.
to lose my life so suddenly. So
Mm.
I had
Mm.
to think about a different career path. And all I knew that the qualities that I had was people. I
Mm.
knew that whatever it is that I wanted to do, it had
Mm.
to be around people.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, I have verbal diarrhea, so it had to be
We
around
are
speaking.
we are so we are like sisters from another mother, aren't we? We really do, because we're both up, but we share a birthday. We share so many traits.
So
Actually,
many
I was
things.
told once by a business coach, Susie, you have a tendency towards verbal diarrhea. Oh no, she actually said you have a tendency towards verbosity, which was a
Oh,
very nice way of putting it. Carrie, if you're watching, Ira, you remember that.
well, being
But you
brought
know,
up in
so in some ways it can be a blessing. So
yes.
carry on.
So I think being brought up in the East End, people just said Georgia talk too much, but
Mm.
I just think um, It was the joy. It was the joy of conversation. It was the joy of meeting people. But I knew that because um, of being a person that could speak to so many different people. I could be in a room with directors and they felt comfortable sharing. I
Mm,
could be in a youth club with children that were just going through such bad things and they felt comfortable sharing.
mm,
So that's where I started in regard. I did a lot of volunteering and I still do, but I feel that that was my beginning. But I didn't know that I was going to end up, you know, going going through such fascinating roles, from working for pharmaceutical companies, working with patients, to engineering, driving a forklift truck. We won't talk about that. I think they're still suffering from that. But, and it's, working for American shipping companies. And I think what it was with me, Susie, is when you are driving forward at the beginning of your life to a particular goal and role, if you choose not to do that, you're a little bit lost in regards to what next.
mm,
But what I am is somebody that will go for it. And I
mm,
will stay there for a good 2 years, like thinking to myself, this is it. And then thinking, okay, maybe it's not.
mm.
but,
But
but I
if you
take those
know the
calls.
skill to know when to move on,
Yes.
is and when to let go. I mean, that is a
Yeah.
skill that some of us have to learn,
Yes.
because it's, some, oh, you mustn't give up, stickability, all of that. But actually, sometimes that can be not serving ourselves or others.
Exactly.
And I would like to make an observation that one of the reasons people feel comfortable around you, from young children in youth clubs to directors, is because you are authentically George. You are you. And that gives an aura of confidence, even, just being you. This is me. I'll show up as me every time. And I think that's beautiful.
Bless you. Honestly, but I'm gonna move forward with the let's say the corporate background. And I went
Mm.
into fashion. I
Oh,
decided that for me, I was going to see how far I could get. How unique was I? So I joined a beauty pageant, and I'm not going to kid you, I won a crown.
ooh.
I joined the equivalent to Miss Plus Size Universe,
Okay,
and there were
wow.
women from all over the
The
world, and I
world.
came in fourth.
Wow.
And
Wow.
literally, there were hundreds of women,
Yes.
and I
Yes.
was the oldest one there, so I
Yeah.
didn't think I was going to get anywhere.
Mm.
What I pulled away from that, and this is George all over, is I thought,
Mm.
who who's talking to these women? Who's talking to these young girls? Who's letting them know that they are about to expose themselves to a
Mm.
big, wide world that can be a little bit nasty,
And judgmental.
because of the trolls. It was a beautiful
Mm.
thing, and I
Mm.
thought to myself, I've done that. Great. So I stayed within the industry and became their mentor.
Ah.
And so I volunteered as their mentor for about 1 to 2 years. And I say 1 to 2 years, but the
Mm.
ladies still reach out now.
Mm.
And globally, I made sure that they were ready for the press. They were ready for themselves. Why did they want to get involved in this? And on the back of that, then I set up my Planet GG, which it
Yes.
initially was called Planet Go Girl,
Yeah.
meaning all over the world, what you want to do, just go for it. But
Mm.
I changed it to GG because I had men contact me and I wanted to make sure that I was there to support
Yeah.
everybody. But
Okay.
predominantly,
Okay, great. Yeah.
it was for women. And it was amazing. The support that I've seen these women today, they're
Mm.
incredible.
Mm.
Then some of them are no longer plus size because what they've done is they've just gone along with their lives. They
Mm.
haven't been pressured to do
Mm.
anything.
Mm.
They've just been happy within themselves,
Mm.
and they look amazing.
Mm.
They
Mm.
really do. So, and they all call me Mummy G, which, you know,
Oh.
well, it's not Granny G, so I'll take that.
Yes, yeah, take the mama.
But the things that I do, I go within the workplace. I go into schools and colleges, and I talk to people that feel I can see myself. I sit in the classroom, and I see young G at the back, and I know that she's me, and she's wanting to be herself, but she's not sure how society will see her. She's not sure of her next step. And that has not stopped me from going into colleges and schools and talking to people about what is it you want to do? What is it you'd like to share?
Yeah.
Because, and I'm not saying that, we all need to find space to do that, but that's what drives me forward, is making sure that I give my mini-me's
Oh,
that kind of advice to
yes.
you're
Yes.
okay and
George,
you're
I didn't know
doing
you
very
did
well.
that. I mean, I know you in your role with the NHS.
Yes.
So that is fantastic. That's such a super way. It's not, well, it's partly giving back, but it's also giving forward, paying it forward
Yes.
so that you can, in a way, that's the bit of your father, isn't it?
It's
To
all
give
my
these,
father. Yes.
yeah. Oh.
The way he gave his space and his time to the young
Mm,
lads and feeding them and trying to give them advice by saying to them, okay, you want your identity, but what are you doing to yourself? And I'm not going to lie, some of these boys, they ended up losing their lives because they continued with their substance abuse. But he continued. He wanted to make sure that their legacy went on. He spoke about, how trapped they were. And, sadly cancer took him, but he never stopped. He never,
mm,
ever stopped.
mm,
And he always used to come and visit me because he was in a different county. He was in London and I moved away. But he used to call me Gypsy G because he said to me, you are not afraid to move. You are
mm,
not afraid
mm,
to take that adventure. He always said that Dora Explorer was written about me.
mm,
I said, I'm
mm.
scared of snakes. I doubt it. But and it's just that driving forward. I mean, as the chair at that time of the Women's Network, we were almost 300 strong, and I wanted to make sure about that safe space, Susie. I wanted to use my newness, if you like, in that trust to almost bring a cheeky, well, can't we do this? Why not? Because I felt that the trust wanted to give something of support and that psychological safety to all the members. And that's exactly what we do. I'm quite proud of
You
the
should
network. I have
be.
to say that. And I'm proud of the members. I've got a beautiful co-chair now. And so, and we together we just literally create and provide what needs that space for our colleagues. But outside work,
Yeah.
I'm still hungry for volunteering. I still work with women that have been out of work for a long time. I have a group of women that have been out of work from about 10 to 20 years because they've chosen to build families, or they've tried to get into the workplace, but because they've been out for so long, they feel that their knowledge is old. And
Okay.
encouraging them and letting them know it's not old.
The
You have lived
skills.
experience. Get
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
Your children all wanted to work on computers, come home with homework. You're more relevant than most of us, So it's talking to them and taking them around. I'll give you a very short story.
Okay.
Two people had an interview and they weren't too sure what people wear in the workplace anymore. So we went shopping around the high street. Now, these ladies didn't have much money, so we went into secondhand shops.
Yeah.
And let
Great.
me tell you, honestly, the designer wear that we picked up,
Mm.
oh my gosh.
Mm.
And yes, the both of them got that job, but they were nervous. They were very nervous, and they did it themselves. All they just needed is that
Little
person to
encouragement. Yes, to
encourage
say
them.
you got this. Well, I say to my, the women on the Mastering Mental Toughness, I am here to believe in you until you can believe in yourself.
Yes.
Because self-belief is something that is so lacking. And in fact, I'm very excited because you were talking about that support element in that way. And I'm going to potentially be working with women who suffered domestic abuse, set up a company and work with those particular women of a certain age who want to rebuild their lives and go back to work. But they think, what sort of work could I do? I'm unemployable. And as you said, if you've brought up children, you have all manner of skills that goes into, and tougher than a lot of jobs. So, but they just need the belief and the confidence. So I am
But
so proud
Susie,
of you
I'm
for
going
doing
to
what you
literally make you
do.
very uncomfortable with what I'm about to say.
Go on
I
then.
met you 2 years, nearly 3 years ago, and it's comfortable to say that we were brought up in two different
Oh,
walks of life,
hugely.
you know. However, you are one of the most sincere,
Oh,
warm,
mm,
comforting person that I've ever met. You build people up, and you need
oh.
to know this. Your approach, your I don't know, it's you know, I don't want to use warmth because, and I'm
Mm.
struggling because I've got 20,000 words that I want to push out right now. But what I want everybody to know is I don't suffer fools gladly. However, this young lady, Susie Mac.
Oh, George, stop. We've just lost, after this young lady, we lost you, darling. And I really want to hear this. So can you come back to us? No, you're still, oh, that's very weird. This is wonderful of George. Do you want to sort of unplug something and plug it back in? There is a saying that if everything works better if it's unplugged and replugged. And so, oh yes, are you back?
Am I back?
Yes, you're back, darling. Thank you. Brilliant.
Excellent.
Yeah. This young lady.
This young lady, let me tell you, got into my skin.
Oh,
I feel that I'm hearing about your new projects, and all I want to say to you, Susie, is drive forward. I'm very proud of you. You have supported me in absolutely everything that I have done. And I would like to give the support back. You have been on a journey yourself. And I know this
oh
podcast
yes.
is not about you, but it is about you, because I'm sitting here because of who you are.
Oh, George,
I'm
bless you.
sitting here sharing my story because of who you are. And you know what? If my father was alive, your young man would have a run in, because he'd be chasing you around saying, you know, I'm just saying, you know. But no,
Bless your beautiful heart, George. You know, there is a saying that we are a reflection of each other and like attracts like. And in my early years, I didn't attract nice people because I had no boundaries and I had no confidence. And, you know, I was just I was a pretty young woman went through life feeling rather than thinking, you know, and attracted not great relationships, etc. And so to give meaning to what happened to me in the past, and I think this is why I'm being drawn towards working with domestic abuse survivors, because I've had every kind of domestic abuse. And as you say, I mean, I come from a very privileged background, materially privileged, but which is why I'm so fascinated to hear about people's childhood. And because whatever material stuff around you, you have or don't have, if you have parents who love each other and parental support and love and approval and all of those things, it makes a huge difference. There's that saying, isn't there? Give me the child until he is 7 or she is 7, and I will show you the man.
But I have
the
to,
woman.
I mean, I agree with that, but even just one solo parent, you don't have to have both. You know, you could have just one parent, because sometimes, you know, that happens, but just one supporter that will drive you forward and tell you and encourage you. And And even if that person isn't of your blood, but has taken that on to be
Actually, yes.
your
Oh,
parent.
to completely
Mm.
immerse themselves in championing you, in
Yes.
being a
Yeah.
champion and a mentor. And the other thing that I would say, and I do completely understand, is that once we become an adult, stop blaming the past, stop blaming your parents. Stop. And there was not a blame for me, but I didn't fully blossom until very late in life. And that was to do with the relationships and da da da.
Yes.
But yes, thank you for that, George, because one person, and what an amazing thing is that you are doing that not only in your paid work, but also as a volunteer.
Mm.
You are truly the epitome of a people person.
Oh, bless
And
you.
love the advice that you give to people and the support. And also, you know what makes it so gorgeous is that cheeky. Look at that cheeky smile. You know, it is, if you can do anything with humor, that brings a lot to the story, and you know, and the teachings and the mentoring. And people who
100%.
have that from you are very, very lucky. I say fortunate, actually.
Oh, bless. I
Bless your
just feel
father who
we both promote that we want people to do the best, but
yes,
we, you know, I feel that our mission statement is be kind as well. You know, we
yes,
understand. Um, we have lived experience, and it's, you know, we're not just sharing
mm,
experience. We're
mm,
saying we
mm.
do understand,
Yes,
and I think that's what makes it unique, that when people
yes,
talk to you, Susie, they think to themselves, gosh, she does get it, you
oh
know.
yes,
And
yes,
the advice that
yeah,
I give, you know, people are quite surprised because they see the smile and then they think to themselves,
mm,
yeah, you've never been unhappy, look at you, the
mm,
cheeks are all
mm.
high and you're always smiling. I say to people it's whinge, they
It's
don't really
but
understand.
but you know what? It is a choice we make.
Yes.
And choice is one of the elements. In fact, I've just been writing about it yesterday. I'm so close to, well, in fact, I'm going to launch the 5-week fast track first part. Well, the second part, 5-week deep dive, is optional. Mastering mental toughness. I'm going to launch it in October. I think that's a better time. And of course, we're away for a while in September. So I am so excited. So I'm just honing everything. But George, is there something that you would like to share with our audience before we say farewell for today?
Um, so I'm starting a new path in regards to podcasts and things like that myself.
Mm,
I
mm,
do want to share different experiences. I want to reach out to people to come to me and share, if they're brave enough to share their different
mm,
experiences. I
mm,
will be trying as much as I can to share everything that I've gone through in life to
mm.
support people.
Yes.
But I just want to let people know that uniqueness is a gift. Never look at yourself and think that I can't drive forward because I am not the same.
Mm,
We were not born to be the same. Please, you know, think about loving yourself, and remember, you know, the respect that you want from others, you have to give to yourself
it
first.
begins with the self. It all begins with the self. Thank you, George. And
And
I
thank
also,
you, Susie.
yeah, I feel your father got it right when he gave those young people and on drugs um, somebody to be with, because I think it's John Harry, Hari, on YouTube. I'll look it up. Who talks about that drug addicts it's not the drugs they want, it's connection and community. And when they get lost and they're in pain, you know, they find a community that's too easy and
Mm,
encouraged, you know, by people who are already in that place, and that's desperately sad. And so, you know, more people like your father and us, and you know, we are trying, and but I have a different audience, but Oh, George, this has been fabulous talking to you.
Thank you, Susie.
Actually, more so listening to you. And yeah, I just want to say to those who are watching or listening, keep an eye on this lady. You know, that she's, as she said, I think you should, not should, we don't use that word in our sphere, but I'd love to see some of your poetry and the short stories. Where
Yes,
can
I'm
people
hoping to
find those?
publish some very, very soon.
Super.
I
Okay.
have so much.
Darling, when you do, come back on again and we'll
Yes,
talk about, you can read a couple and we'll talk about those and you know, we'll get those out to the
definitely. I
world.
have a children's book coming out soon, but yes,
Yes.
definitely. Yeah.
Multi-talented. And isn't it interesting? I only really knew you and loved you through the work that you do with the NHS. As you know, you got quite a good title in that sphere, haven't you? She's like, oh, George. But we've hardly talked about that. We've talked about really what is not paid for and what comes from your heart.
Yes.
And I love that. So yeah, definitely come back on again when you've got something
Susie, thank
published.
you. I feel honoured
Oh,
to have been
it's
invited.
my pleasure, my privilege and honour. And thank you everybody for listening and watching. And I hope if you like what you hear and see, please like and subscribe. And I'm getting really good at saying that now, George. It's practiced. Because you feel like you're asking people to do something, but actually, you know, let's spread this beautiful word of my guests, like George. Let's spread the word. So we've done this on a Saturday morning, but so have a great weekend, everybody, or whatever day you listen to this. Have a great, great day, and we'll be back again soon. Take care. Lots of love. Bye. Stay on the line with me, George, won't you? Bye-bye.